Welcome back to my channel. This is Nick. This is Trans Guy Reacts, and my name is Nick. And I want to do a video about the WNBA salaries. This video, if you notice, I'm in a different location, so I apologize for the situation, the lighting, but this is the best I could get. There's a fan on because if I turn off the fan, I'm going to be sweating, so I can't have that. So let's just get into this video. So the WNBA salaries. So let's give a little bit of context. The WNBA has been around for 28 years. It's not that old compared to the WNBA, which has 80 plus years, maybe even longer. And the revenue for the WNBA is around $200 million a year. Now, the NBA makes $8 plus billion a year. All right. So in comparison, not exactly the apples to apples. We're talking oranges to pears here. They're really not the same. And for there's been a lot of controversy with the media because the media always likes to make things bigger than they are. They love a clickbait title. There's all this controversy over Caitlin Clark's salary and that she's not making that much. She's only going to make $76,000 a year. And then Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner, clarified that she could make up to 500K, in potential stocks and bonuses. Now, that's really important to note. Stocks mean really nothing until they're sold, so this is like future potential, and bonuses are really not that high. But the pay has always been low in the WNBA, and that's due to them not making a profit, and also because of their rights. The rights are very skewed for the players. They don't get a lot of the profit sharing as compared to the NBA. But at the same time, it's like you can't really be upset about this and have like this false narrative of like, oh my God, I care so much that Caitlin Clark isn't making a lot of money, but still don't actually support women's basketball, professional basketball. You've never watched it, you don't care about it, you've said negative things about it, but now that this it girl is going to the league, you care now. You care so much. But it's like we've been talking about this for decades, and the response has always been, well, you should be happy with what you have, and why do you even care? We don't care about you. So because of this inequity, most, not all, but most WNBA players play overseas, and that's where they actually get paid because they're making, a lot of them, literally 5 to 10 times more money than they're making in the United States. I remember personally when I first started watching the WNBA when I was a teenager, that was about 20 years ago. The pay was only 45K for a rookie, okay? 45K. Now it's about 62K as the lowest paid rookie if you have less than 2 years of experience. And right now, apparently, there are 19 players who entered the season, or last season rather, making the league minimum. So out of 144 players, 19 of them are making the league minimum. And some of those salaries also can be prorated. They can be lower because, like, if you weren't with the team the full season, you're not going to get the full pay, obviously, right? So this is based on the full, usually about 4 month season. And then the way that it goes too is like kind of by like when you got picked in the draft. So if you got picked 1 through 4, you made 74,000. Picks 5 through 8, you made 71. Picks 9 through 12, 68. If you're in the second round, you're making 65, and if you're in the third round or undrafted, you make 62. So that's where the breakdown is. And the salary caps, are they are what they are. The league has always worked this way in the U.S., but other countries there are no caps, there are no salary caps, and they also are not as open about their salaries abroad. Here in the United States, there are a lot of laws, and you have to be more transparent about like what you're paying people, but abroad they don't. It's personal. A lot of billionaires own teams, and they pay them what they want to pay them. And like I said, the biggest issue that players have talked about is the revenue sharing. So in the WNBA, players are paid 21% of the league's revenue. That is as 2019. By comparison, you have the NBA. They make approximately 50% of the league's revenue. So players are not even asking for their salaries to be exponentially more. They're just asking for the same revenue sharing that happens in the NBA. That won't happen until the WNBA reaches their profit margin, which I don't even know what it is. I don't know what the break even is. I don't think anyone's ever said it out loud. I'm assuming because we haven't reached it, it's probably somewhere around the 200, no, probably like the 3 or 400 million mark. So that might be changing this year with Caitlin Clark bringing those new eyeballs. So overseas, like I said, they have billionaires owning teams. Um, oh, excuse me, they have billionaires owning teams. Um, like in Russia and Turkey, they have players. They are paying players multiple millions, like Sue and Diana. They're in this 30 for 30 podcast where they kind of talk about their experiences. It's called the Spy Who Signed Me. I'm actually going to make a whole nother video about that because that is very fascinating and has a lot of like nuances and interesting history, and kind of puts things in perspective. So it's really funny that these new fans are like, oh, the veterans are so jealous of these new players with their NIL deals and all these things, and it's like, no, they're not. They are not pressed. They already have their millions. They made their millions a decade ago already because they had to be, resilient and make different types of choices, right? So they had to figure out how to make more money, and usually you make more money abroad. That's just point blank, and they've been better about investing and things like that. Um, it's so bad that the the Russian team that Diana Taurasi played on in 2015, um, they asked her to sit out one season of the WNBA for her health, and they were already paying her like $1.5 million, but it's reported that they paid her over $3 million to sit out, or close to $3 million to sit out the 2015 season to save on her health. And I mean, what are you going to do with that when your team is giving you millions of dollars to not play in the WNBA? A lot of players have even said that their real season is overseas and the off season is the WNBA because they make far more money in overseas. And they get around this because apparently in Europe you can only have two players that are foreign, but a lot of the WNBA players have citizenship in these other countries. So like Diana has an Italian passport, Sue has an Israeli passport. Jonquel Jones, who's in the league, has a Bosnian citizenship. It's kind of crazy how they're able to get around the foreigner status. Um, and then even like NECA has talked in some interviews, recent interviews, and she's pretty much alluded that she makes 5 to 10 times what she makes in the W overseas. So you can see the allure there. People are gonna want to take care of their families and their long-term health. Making less than 100K a year is not going to protect you when you retire. Once you don't even have any job skills, right? Outside of playing basketball, maybe some communication skills. So you need to really protect yourself, and I see why they do it. Um, there were some in an article I read, some anonymous agents say that only 5 to 10 players are really making over 500K a year, but for me, I'm like, even if they're only making 2 to 300K a year, that's way more than the WNBA. And I'd say, probably most are making between 80 to 150K a year. Again, more than the W. So there is a reason I can see why people would want to go abroad. Liz Cambage, who used to play in the W, but that girl has so much drama in her life. She now plays in China. I don't even know if she plays in the WNBL, because she's from Australia, but I haven't seen her on a team. I think she has similar issues that she had in the WNBA with the WNBL, but she plays in China, and she's making about $1 million per season. You know, it's like, why wouldn't you, right? It just makes sense, literally sense. um, and then if you're not working, if you're not playing overseas, there are other opportunities to make money. You can bridge the gap by working in the media, by coaching, or just having a business that's kind of away from the court, or even if you want to play here, there's Athletes Unlimited. So that is a league that plays in March, and it allows a lot of WNBA players to get some practice while not playing abroad. Now you got college players, they're receiving NIL money for the first time, and so that gives them a little bit of greater financial stability as they enter the league, so they don't have as much pressure to play overseas because of that. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them won't have to have that pressure, and as we move into the more, the new collective bargaining agreements, they might be even more incentivized not to go abroad, but right now, this is what it is. The WNBA has made some progress in terms of working with brands to help players manage their very complicated money and tax situation, because if they have all these businesses, they're playing overseas, how do you do this? So like USA Bank AT&T, Deloitte, and CarMax all offer these extra services to help the players manage that. So I do appreciate that they're doing that, but it's not much. um, and Also to note is that a lot of players, because of the collective bargaining agreement, they must come back from their overseas play by May 1st. That is the cutoff for returning players, and if you don't come back by that time, you can be fined or you might even be suspended for the entire year. So there's been some controversy over that. Gabby Douglas, is it Gabby Douglas? I'm pretty sure. She plays for the French team. She wasn't going to come back because she made way more in the French team, but she got injured, and so she was able to come back. I think kind of with a waiver and play in the season last year in the 2023 season. But she was really honest about it. She was like, I wouldn't even be here if I didn't get hurt. The W just is not the most lucrative place to play. There's been so many other players who haven't come back, like Emma Mieseman. She was amazing when she played for the Mystics, but she has a much more successful career abroad. I mean, she's from Europe, so it makes sense, and they pay her more. So why would she come here and make very little money and risk injuring herself for just 4 months? It doesn't make any sense. Now you're probably asking, like, what do I do to help with this situation? Well, I would say watch the games, buy the WNBA League Pass, their subscription service. It's only like $35 a month, $35 period, just for the whole season. You can watch old games from years ago. You can watch the Athletes Unlimited has a contract with them, so you can watch their games. You can watch the WNBL. They had a contract with them, and so you can see their games, which had a lot of WNBA players in it, like Mercedes Russell, Ari McDonald, Jordan Canada, like tons of players, Brianna Turner, lots of players were in the WNBL. So if you want to support, I would say do those things. Also buy merch, right? If you don't show your dollars, then the players don't get money, right? It's simple as that. So you can't be complaining about, oh my God, these players don't make any money. But if you're not watching the games, if you're not supporting, then they're not going to make the money. So you have to make the investment. It's pretty much as simple as that. And then also when the players in their the WNBA, it's like the Players Association, when it's time for their collective bargaining agreements, you guys need to be behind them. You got to be supporting them online and social media and pushing back on the WNBA and Kathy Engelbert about this collective bargaining agreement so that it's better and more favorable to the players. And that's the only way the game is going to grow. So that's like the breakdown of the salaries. There's so much more to say about it, but that's pretty much all I'm going to go into. And hopefully it's a little bit enlightening. If you like the video, please go ahead and comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. So peace.